kind of our issue is that she can be anxious, you can get on her, she relaxes once you're on her. She'll be anxious on the ground, like when the horse gets taken away, but then if you're there with her, she's fine. But my issue is I can't leave her alone, I can't leave her tied up anywhere because she'll hurt herself.
That's why you've got to teach her more things. You've got to teach her more things. See what horses that can't self-regulate like that, they can't be naked.
Yeah.
Naked has given her no tools, okay? Naked has given her thinking she has to do it all herself.
Yeah.
So how we teach horses to tie up better is give her a pathway that she doesn't feel like she's on her own.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So that pathway doesn't have to be a person.
Yeah.
The pathway could be a rope. So it's an alternative. So basically teaching sort of horses that aren't very confident, we're giving them alternatives. Hey, here's an alternative. And she can put her mind into that alternative and go, yeah? So very good reinsmanship is very important. Very good ropesmanship is very important. So what I'm going to start to show you is offering her alternatives when she can self-regulate and be further away from us. Okay? One thing a horse really needs to understand to be able to self-regulate and be confident is don't be frightened of the boundaries. So a lot of horses I see that are fractured, they're frightened of the reins, they're frightened of being bumped on, they're frightened of being sticked, or they're frightened of this. So there is no alternative for them because every one of those pathways that the person thought was a pathway is quite... It's like walking bare feet on a pathway that's sharp stones. That's what it feels like to the horse. They don't want to take that pathway. Yeah? So that's why I'm really big on getting on a horses and waiting in there till they find softness in every one of my pathways that I'm trying to follow, and I don't forfeit that until the horse feels good about it. Yeah? Or I don't give up on it. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is some little exercises. One of them is just a basic follow the field ground tying lesson, where you can get her to sort of think about something else. So basically, if you kind of walk over here and leave that with her, and then suddenly she starts to go like this, she doesn't know her responsibility. When she had a bigger horse in the herd that was a bit stronger, her responsibility was to probably follow that horse, yeah, when things went wrong, because she handed over responsibility. So basically, if you see her getting a little fractious and she doesn't understand and she gets a little lost, well, you have to give her something that she can follow to regulate that anxiety. And that would be, this is your friend. Yeah? Something I said yesterday for everybody, and that you would have missed, is it's just a bit of a jokey way of looking at it, but it's like, if I'm the president, this is the president's wife. Yeah? So no matter what I do, this one will have the last say in most matters. The reason why you teach horses that is how many times you put them in a float and you leave and go and sit in the car and get your coffee and drive off. How many times are they left with this? All the time. So to me, this is more important than what I'm doing, you understand? But she doesn't realise that yet. Once she understands that, then you'll be able to tie her up quietly, because she puts more of her effort into quietening with this rope than wondering where her friends are, because this is her friend. So what I want to give you a lesson in is firstly how to centre her, but not have her here going, oh, I'm gooey with you, because as soon as you walk away she goes, yeah? So I want her to get quiet in her own skin within her own boundaries, yeah? So I'm just going to walk over here and I'm going to do, it's going to be a leading lesson where I walk, she stands, and then I ask her to come. But she's not to come until I've asked through the rope. That's going to be the first port of call for her to feel a little better. Good girl. Now I'm going to put that rope on the ground like that. I'm just going to walk away over here. Good girl. So basically you're expanding the herd size. So instead of being a little dinky herd in a little dinky paddock, you're a herd that's in a big paddock. So you could be standing over at A, but she knows she's still attached to the herd. Do you understand? And slowly, eventually, it gets better and better. So, you know, she knows you're around, so she knows she's not all alone. Ow, that hurt. Sorry. Wasn't me. It's like, whoops, shouldn't have done that. So I let her come up for a little connection. I don't want to show her that. Yeah? Something I'd start to think about, yeah? Good girl. I might step in that last step. I don't, like something I encourage some horses, depending on the personality of the horses, I'm not going to ask you to come all the way into me standing and reach to me. We get to that point there and we reach halfway. So I have to reach out for that connection a little bit so they don't end up in your pocket when they're nervous. Yeah? So they're more responsible for what they're doing. We're teaching them to be responsible. Okay, so first of all, this is the little pathway that she's happy with, and we're teaching her to stand on your own, then move a bit with me, maybe have a little connection, then stand on your own. And then what will happen at home, you'll get a rope that's about 3 times as long as that, and you'll have her standing out there, quiet, and then you'll say, lead her up over here, stop there, lead her up over here, until you put her on a rail over there and walk over here, and she goes, oh, I'll just stay with the feel. Yeah? Once she understands that feel's not a trap, she'll learn that she can stand quietly. Yeah, but they don't just fluke that, they have to be taught that. How do you teach a horse a ground tie? You guys learned this one yesterday. Never tie him up. Or how do you teach a horse a ground tie? Teach him to follow a feel. Once the horse can follow a feel, the feel goes still. What's the horse do? Follows the feel to stillness. Well, maybe lead it to you before it even happens. So maybe what you could do is, knowing that she did that really well, lead her up to you softly. Good. You reach that last bit, then put the rope just so it touches the ground, and you walk backwards and let her learn to stand on her own. Good. Now right there, interrupt a thought. But you don't want to frighten her too much. Good. And you're going to practice at home many different positions. That you stand over here, stand over there. And you're giving her responsibility at standing with that rope. Good. Now walk away a little further. But no. You've got to pull the rope a fair bit before it's going to lead her, okay? So don't... While that's hanging like that, she shouldn't... No. That was her not... That was too flimsy to be a quality lead. So basically there's a certain amount of smile I'm going to teach you to understand and her to understand, so you're both on the same page. The teacher has to know the answer for the student to know the answer. So if there's any vagueness in your understanding of how much feel you'd like to provide to get her to walk forward, close your eyes and I'll show you. Close your eyes. Here's the rope. Good. Now you want to follow a soft feel, you don't want to brace and lean. So there's an amount of pressure that you're going to kind of understand that's offering you clarity. Now, I'm going to take you to that pressure that you've offered you clarity, and then you're going to open your eyes and just have a look at what it is. Look. Out there. That's what it feels like to her. So one is anticipation through the eye, the other one is clarity through the feel. If it's this one, close your eyes. Not much clarity in that, is there? But just have a look at it now, what I'm doing. That's nothing, is it? So that's going to mean you're just looking. You're anticipating, which means when you go away over there and she doesn't see you, she never found the clarity in this. Horses learn to be lookers and they forget that feel is so important, yeah? So once you know that answer, she'll know the answer. So if you think she's looking through the eye and anticipating, so that's not the answer, stay with the rein. Now take a little, whoop, 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 whoop. You see this? She's already getting a bit wriggly, thinking she has to reposition herself when you walk in a different position. Because she's used to looking, and she's got to learn to let go, yeah?
So with stuff like this, increasing her confidence on her own, and obviously getting longer and longer and longer, is that basically going to get to the stage where it helps her when she's not in a holder and she's
Yes.
in panic on her own?
Yes. Yes, because you kind of, in a sense, if you want to look at it in a maybe different fashion, I believe you're opening new neuro pathways, you understand? Like, if you do one thing all the time, you always do it, and then you do something different, you go, well, I didn't know I could do that, but now I might try it, yeah? And our horses, I think, are the same. They don't just find it themselves, sometimes they have to be shown it.
Yeah.
And once they're shown it, they go, oh, because they know what feels better. Horses are the biggest comfort finders, you know, they really find comfort. Oh, just give me comfort. And that's all they want, comfort in something. And if they don't know there's comfort in that, then they'll always go what they know is comfortable. But if they found comfort in something new, then they're going to go, well, I could try that.
Yeah.
And that's how we've learnt positive and negative reinforcement but you've got to be careful with positive, negative reinforcement that they're not just moving away from discomfort, they're actually searching for comfort. But the discomfort is only enough for them to search, not for them to sort of want to not be there. There's a fine line in that.
Yeah.
So you ever heard there's a saying in horsemanship, and it started off with the old founders of horsemanship, and it was changed a little bit, but there was make the wrong thing difficult and the right thing easy. And then then later on someone else said make the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy. Difficult is different to hard. Do you understand? So the word, I think the old saying for it was much better. Difficult is a little more difficult. Difficult's difficult. But I like doing difficult things sometimes, yeah? But something that's really hard, I'm not going to too hard. Yeah? So if you were to make something difficult, sometimes you just got to make the easy thing look easy. So sometimes instead of making something difficult, I just say that's not available, but this is. I make it as simple as that. Because sometimes when people go and make it difficult, they might do stuff with the horse to make them a little bit stressed. And then the horse tries to go over there to get away from the stress. Whereas I might just say, that's not available. You know, there's areas like that. And then the horse doesn't get frightened of a boundary because it's a boundary more than an area where it's uncomfortable. Do you understand? It's not uncomfortable there for a long time. It just realises that's not available, just like a door. And if we think of it like that, then sometimes while we're making it hard or difficult, we're going, oh, maybe I should be doing stuff that makes this horse feel good about me. Yeah?
With that, if I'm walking away from her, if she's keeping her front feet planted but she's spinning to keep eyes on, is that not allowed as well?
That's not her being happy in her skin.
Okay.
A horse that's happy in their skin. I'll show you what a horse that's happy in their skin. I'll tell you what. I can make you unhappy in your skin if you like, with me around you. Okay, now come over here.
They already don't like it.
Now, you've got to learn to trust me. Now, why, you remember sort of, in generic sort of training, you saw this disengage the hip, 2 eyes on, a lot. That didn't look any different than this, did it? No. So a horse was facing you because it didn't trust you, sometimes. I'm not saying that but I'm just saying that's what it was taught like. A horse has to face you because it wants to, not because it doesn't trust you back there. So in training, it's very important that a yield is the horse giving, not taking something away from you. So if a horse is taking something away from you, it's not a true yield. If a horse is giving something to you, it's a yield, right? And that's how you've got to look at everything the horse does to decipher in your mind, to regulate, to know how the horse is regulating things and understanding things. And if you did 10 things with your horse, say 5 things, if you did 5 things with your horse, and if you looked at the detail of those 5 things, and every one of those 5 things that horse was taking something away from you, then it's going to be taking their confidence away. In that red horse, it could make him angry and defiant. But if they give, so basically a horse has to give and feel good about you being back here in any situation. And if she decides to bring her thoughts around to you, it's because she's given her front end to you, not taken her hind away from you. Yeah? Paramount. Because otherwise you don't have a gauge to regulate where your horses are at and where your training's at. If you don't have that gauge in your mind, then you can get a lot of tricks happening, but the horse's sort of confidence is not catching up with it. Cooperative, it's got to be very cooperative. Doesn't matter if you use positive, negative reinforcement, it's got to be a cooperation. Yeah. And sometimes it's easy to see horses, there's a Liberty horse, and I'm not saying that against Liberty, there's one in Queensland that can do a lot of things, and it's by some trainer who's very good at this stuff. But we spent a 4-day clinic getting that horse to think ahead and let go of the person with its focus and think up there while the person was standing there just following it. And that was like trying to pull teeth out of a wild cat, because that horse did not trust letting go of that person, because it thought if it did, it's going to have to focus back again. Do you understand? So basically, a lot of little lessons you're going to do to teach her self-confidence around you are simple little lessons like, can you look away from me? Can you come back with me? Yeah? Little lessons like that. Can I come up here? See that there? She's trying to take part of herself away from me. The reason I know that is because of the side of her face and her eye. If she was giving a head to me and interested in where I was going, she would have went like this and went hello and reached out that inside under front foot. But she hardened in the side of her body and she moved her hip over, which means she was taking a part of her body away. So in negative reinforcement, that she's mind's on the negative of it, not the positive. So we've got to think about that. Okay, so I want to be able to walk back here without her thinking she's taken a part of her body away. And there's her expression there. She gets a little harder faced and she goes away. All those things you've got to really watch